Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back to this episode, and we have Beanhole Bandit, and he's in a Manticore. What the? Usually, Bean sends us fantastic replays of the German box tanks, but he's driving the Little Brit terrible tank. Right? It's so bad. The Manticore is the worst tank. See how that guy just missed him? That guy's going to have kind of a pain dealing with Bean in the Manticore, and the reason is, one of the reasons is kind of that X factor in this tank, is that it is so small. It's very difficult just plain old mechanic wise to hit. Nice little auto aim right there and gets a shot in. So he was carrying 20 APCR. He doesn't have any HE. That is interesting. And 0 AP. He's carrying pudding and tea or crumpets or whatever the heck that is. And I'm assuming he's got a rammer optics. He does not have binocs. So rammer optics and probably vents. He would have to let us know if it's something different. That's probably the setup here. With 20 shells, 20 times, 400, we're going to just round up. It's a 390 alpha gun. It's about 8,000 possible with slightly high rolls, right, at 400 damage per shot that this thing can do. And he's going to have a really nice little game right here. Don't get excited. It's not 8,000. I wish. That would be a lot of fun. But he's got a couple shots in so far, a couple three. One of them missed. I was a little bit surprised at how free he was with shots there, especially on that kind of, look at that, just gets right in where he needs it to be, especially on that fast moving, I think it was an EBR in there. Now what you're going to watch Bean do here is just kind of keep this tank at the edge of the fight. It's got a long reload, so he's going to do a lot of maneuvering around to get that big 390 gun into the right position to get shots. Now this flank is pretty weak. And you wouldn't usually find a light tank working a flank like this, but there is the WT Panzer IV thing behind him with the big gun. You've got the Arty, which is very interested in thumping these guys because the Arty is about to get rolled up. And then the big push going on over on the east side. So what Bean's got to do here is just kind of slow these guys down, harass them, and stay alive. And that's what you're going to see. Look at this. There's the... you got to just love how this thing can set up for a shot undetected and then scoot away. No sense just sitting there and rocking back and forth. They do have some arty, which will wreck this thing. So he just takes his little tiny Manticore and skates. We'll come over here and we'll look for a shot. There we go. Somebody hits him and tracks him, it looks like, and then takes the opportunity to put one in there. As soon as he fires, he moves. Didn't get spotted that time. Comes back around here looking for a little camo maybe. Trying to get a shot. Wasn't quite reloaded, and there's one of the issues with the long reload. Any other scout would have been reloaded and ready to take on that Sheridan and take him down. So Bean's going to skate out of there. There's another shot that comes in and misses. Little time. There's another one. Tiny little tank. Just physically difficult to hit. So he moves around, heads over here. Kind of like the fast tanks, the EBRs are difficult to hit because they're fast. Watch this. He's going to nice zoom. Boom. This is something that I believe it's True Voodoo talks about. This gun, while its dispersion is not great, if you let it aim all the way in, it's actually pretty darn good. So it takes a while to get there. It's a nice shot in there, and unfortunately only gets a crit, but it does track him. And then Bean moves. So you'll notice that nearly every time he fires and moves, especially if he thinks he's going to get spotted or he needs to get to a better position, he's going to thump the turtle into the side there. The tortoise, sorry, that's not a turtle. That's his big brother, the tortoise. The WT is getting owned by those two things. He's not long for this world. There he goes. And then Bean's going to go ahead and come up onto the top here. So notice how he's always using bushes, using cover. He's going to try. Oh, thought he might get a shot. The T95 goes down into the bottom. I thought he was going to take a shot potentially at this guy, but he lets him. Look at this. He's just not getting spotted. Was he out of the bush? I don't know if he was quite out of the bush. He might not have been. He did get spotted by someone on his left. So he's right now, because there's still relatively quite a few enemy tanks in the battle. He's just assuming he's going to get lit by one of those guys over there, so he moves. He shoots and scoots. Tortoise is just sitting there looking at somebody. I'm assuming he's taking shots at the poor 53-55, attempting to get away. Looks like the 53-55 made it. And we are at 8 and 6. The FV comes in, and Bean is now looking for his next victim. He's got to be careful here because they kind of own that whole side of the map. And anytime he comes up and over these ridges here, he's going to expose himself probably to several guns, at least one. This thing is pretty fragile, all right? It's fragile. You do not want to take hits in this. You do not take hits. You can take one big hit from one of these guys, but you've got to make sure that if you do, it was worth it. He's going to come up here. He sees that guy. He sees the... Oh, he also sees the Grillet, but he lets the Grillet go and he goes after the 30B. I think that's probably a good idea. Looks like he tried to track him. Fortunately, the Tortoise is driven up and is now kicking the snot out of the FV. I was curious why he didn't go after the hatch on that one. We get a little bounce. The Tortoise is pretty well angled. And unfortunately, he's taking down the FV. And it looks like Bean's trying to get over there to help him, but he's just not going to get there in time. And I don't know if the FE just plain old missed that shot or bounced. That's very unfortunate. It looks like he fired and did not kill off the Tortoise. Bean looks to be like he's going to go around the edge, but he's got the T95 over here as well. So, unfortunately, the FV can't be saved, so now we're on the run up to the north. See if we can't catch this guy doing something like that. Let's zoom in right into the side, and now we've killed the big bad T95. Have all our hit points. The other thing about hitting somewhere and running off to another place very different is that if Artie's trying to follow you, it becomes very difficult. If you take a couple shots in the same spot, you know, you get spotted, you take the shot, Artie moves his view over to that, he's looking, you pop up nearby, you may get Artie. If you go a completely different place and just disappear, you're not going to get Artie. Or at the very least, it's going to make it very difficult for them to move over to shoot you. Now, I was a little bit curious here, Bean. I thought I'd have just... Let's go ahead and stop this. I thought I would have aimed right into his back deck, but I don't know if you had that shot, so maybe you knew that. Yeah, there's some stuff blocking, but I think it's just fence stuff, right? It's not a tank. I think like right here or so would have gone into him, maybe right there. We'll see what happens. And then he dies, so maybe you were looking for that shot. We sort of rushed that one, but it's the best shot we had, and then we move out. So we're at 3,319. We've only got 6 shells. So this is one of the problems with the Manticore. 2 major problems with the Manticore as I see it. The gun is fine as far as I'm concerned. The size, the speed, everything else. Number 1 is the 2 crew members, which you can't really tell as he's playing here. As long as they're both alive, it doesn't matter. But it is a screw job for the players because you've run a 3 crew all the way through the grind. And then when you get to tier 10, when it matters the most, you now have to combine 2 of the crew together, and your crew becomes less capable. It's one of the only tanks in the game where at tier 10 your crew becomes less capable. Now there are some others that go from 5 to 4 and some other things like that. He's going to get spotted by the 30B immediately right there. I think he was sticking out the side of the bush maybe just a bit. But he gets out. So there's a trade that, that wasn't great. Probably didn't really want to do that if he could avoid it. But who knew the 30B would come right up over there. And I think maybe you were sticking out the side of the bush. Or maybe you just had good enough vision. T95 is still alive. He's got 3 Artie, himself and a T95 against a Grillet and a 30B. I like these odds. So you just got to be careful to find where are these guys. He's going to come back up here, take a quick look. He does need to kind of tether himself relatively close to the T95. Not completely stuck to the T95, but fast enough that if somehow the 30B gets around it, he can get in there pretty quickly and help out. Because if the T92 HMC drops one on the 95 and the 30 gets behind him, he may not last very long. They catch the Grillet making a bold move, and I'm not really sure why he did this, but he does. Good shell velocity on that gun. I probably would have put a little more lead fire, but hey, you know what? You hit. There you go. The 30B knows he needs to track down this Manticore, so he kind of charges him hard, but is not able to come around the corner. Artie gets a chunk of the Grillet. Looks like Bean is running a zoom out mod. I wish they would make this level of zoom out standard in the game. It really should be. It's one of the only mods, and the T95 catches out the 30B. 30B is sort of looking, hey, where's that Manticore that was just there? Guess what? Manticore's long gone, and you ran into this T95 buddy who set up to look for exactly that. And if you didn't set up to look for exactly that, then good on him for being lucky. So we're going to push back into the back. It's a T92 HMC. The thing you want to know about that is they are not very fast. It's highly unlikely he's gone much of anywhere. He may have pushed down into the southeast, but probably not. More than likely, he's right there. Because until a few moments ago, the Grillet was sort of sitting around guarding him. Right? He was in the general area. When the Grillet left, he uncovered his T92 HMC. I guess that he was going after the Artie. That was an X factor for Bean's team. So I don't know if there was a discussion maybe or some clicking on the enemy team, but it's all over but the shouting. The gorilla gets thumped. We're going to speed this up. So it was probably a good move on his part to try to go find him. He's relatively mobile. He takes one of them down. And watch this. I'm thinking, oh, Bean is going to get another shot in here because he is, that's half speed. Because he is at 3 kills and 4,100. But check this out. Blap. Girl gets shotgunned in the face. Shotgunned in the face. You never saw it. All right, so the gorilla goes down. 3 kills, 4,131 damage, 1,195 assist on Muravanka. When he sent me this, I figured there'd be a whole bunch of assists. He's actually got patrol duty out of this, which was interesting. It's not as much as assist as I thought. I think there's maybe a little more because sometimes it doesn't actually count on the counter here the correct amount. And I know in damage you have that when there's a blind shot. Is there blind assist? I don't know. There's something with that. Maybe one of you guys can explain it down below why it does that sometimes. But in any event, a really nice game by Bean in the Manticore, showing pretty much exactly how you have to run this tank. You need to stay on the edges of the fight. You need to reposition often. You need to bring that 390 alpha in when you can. Try to hunt down near deads like the T95. And keep your big slow fatties alive by just harassing the living snot out of people. It was a really nice game, Bean. Thanks for sending that in. That's all I've got for this episode of World of Tanks, guys. I appreciate your support. Throw me a sub if you like what you saw or you learned something. If you're looking for other ways to support me, you can find that down in the description. And for now, stay healthy, stay safe. We will see you.